What's up guys, DuArktik here with another Marvel Strike Force video, and in this video we are going to talk about the War Scourge that is going to be starting off on Thursday, and it will go throughout the weekend and allow you to unlock Red Hulk. So in this video we are going to talk about all the teams that you need, all the tricks and tips that I can give you for you to prepare for this upcoming War Scourge. And we're going to take a look at each of the nodes that we're going to be facing on this War Scourge. What are the best teams, the most updated teams for this upcoming War Scourge, and the best bang for your buck teams. So you don't have to waste resources on characters that don't really matter, or characters that are going to provide you low value on this War Scourge. So as always, if you like the information on this video, make sure you share it with your friends on Facebook and Discord. If you are new to my channel, make sure you subscribe for more Marvel Strike Force content, and make sure you smash that like button. Okay, so let's get started. Blog post on Friday mentioned that the War Scourge was coming, and it's going to be on the 12th of January. We'll be live on YouTube and also on Twitch at the same time doing the War Scourge live. So if you need some tips live for you to unlock Red Hulk, you just join the stream and ask. Feel free, even if people ask before the same questions, it doesn't matter, I will answer. And that's it. Okay, so for this upcoming War Scourge, for nodes 5 and 10, it's going to be required for you to have Hero Asgardians, Ravagers, or Wave 1 Avengers. You want to make a combination of these characters in order for you to beat node number 5 and nodes number 10. Now, it's going to be very important for you that you do a run on difficulty 5, maybe on difficulty 6, for you to unlock Red Hulk at 3 yellow stars. And with Red Hulk available at 3 yellow stars, it's going to be extremely helpful for some of the nodes that we are going to face. So it's my recommendation that first off you do a 500 points run, 500,000 points run, unlock Red Hulk, gear him up, and then use him on the nodes that we are going to face. So speaking of the nodes, let's talk about the nodes. The nodes that we are going to face, you can see right here, the War Scourge. The nodes that we are going to face are going to be Bio, then they are going to require Avengers, all kinds of Avengers. Then on the villain nodes, nodes number 6 and nodes number 7, it's going to require villains. Then we have skill nodes, and finally on nodes number 5 and nodes number 10, we already mentioned Ravagers, Wave 1 Avengers, and Hero Asgardians. Okay, so with this in mind, we are going to talk about the best bio teams, the best Avenger teams, the best villain teams, and also the best skill teams. And when I say best, is the best bang for your buck. Characters that you have to gear up anyway to use on other game modes, and make sure that we invest the least amount possible on characters that don't really matter. And there are a lot of characters in this game that don't really matter, especially going forward on this year of 2023. Okay, so let's get started. Let's take a look at the bio nodes. And for the bio nodes, it's the Gamma team. The Gamma team is going to be the best team for you to beat these nodes. Even if you have a low level Gamma team, they are going to provide you with the most value, because not only you can use them for this War Scourge, but you can also use them for other game modes like Alliance Wars, like Cosmic Crucible, like Avengers Tower, like Raids. You can use them pretty much on every single game mode. Now, if you don't have the whole Gamma team available and gear up, which you definitely should, if you don't have them gear up, the best bang for your buck is going to be the new Rebirth team. The Rebirth team is going to be the raid team that you need for the bio nodes on 2023. So if you can have some of these characters leveled up already, it's going to be great. And you can also synergize some of those rebirth characters with the Gamma team. That's going to be fine. There is combinations with Hulk and Captain America. Red Hulk is also nice together with them as well. So you can make a hybrid team between the rebirth team and the Gamma team. In terms of other teams that we had in the past, Web Warriors, yeah, they are okay. Symbiotes, yeah, sure, they are okay, but it's not something that I really can recommend investing in right now, because their value has died off, and going forward on 2023, you don't want to gear up any of those teams. Both Symbiotes and Web Warriors, those are not 2023 teams, so avoid them as much as possible. Focus on Rebirth and also on Gamma. So that's what we're going to need for nodes number 2. You can find my recommendations in terms of ISO 8 and in terms of T-Force on my Discord. The link will be in the description. And once again, if you have any question, you can tag me at any time and I will reply to you as soon as possible. Okay, so that's for bio nodes. Let's move on for the next section, which is going to be the Avenger nodes. And for the Avenger nodes, there are many Avenger characters. But once again, if you want the best bang for your buck, you want to focus on the Bionic Avengers. They are required for the raids, whether you are doing Doom 1, Doom 2 or Doom 3, Bionic Avengers are the solution. And that's why I recommend you investing on this team. You can use, you can pair up other Avenger characters, even Wave 1 Avengers like Captain America and Hulk. You can use multiple of those characters in these different nodes if you want. But in my opinion, it's just best to use the Bionic Avengers because they have the most synergy with each other. You can replace Iron Man with Captain America, that's going to be fine. And you can also replace Iron Man with Hawkeye, and that's going to allow you to do a cheat on node number 5. But we are going to talk about that later on. There are other Avenger characters in game. You have the Wave 1 Avengers, you have the Bionic Avengers, you have the Young Avengers. Probably there are other kind of Avengers as well, like Black Panther, Nick Fury and so on. But in terms of synergies, what you really want to use is the Bionic Avengers. You need them for raids, so once again, that's going to be the best bang for your buck. Infographic, you can find it, link in the description for the Bionic Avengers. If you have any question, in case if you feel like this is outdated or something like that, once again you can tag me at any point. And just to explain right here, in terms of the Deadlock, he does more damage the longer he is alive. He's going to increase the entire damage of your team as long as he is alive, and this is why you have Fortified here. If your Deadlock is lower than 5 yellow stars, 5 red stars, you kinda, it's gonna be nice for you to have the Fortified Eyes away, just to make sure that he stays alive. Once again, making sure that he stays alive is more important than him doing some additional damage with the Raider Eyes away. So keep that in mind. This is why he has the Fortified Eyes recommendation, because keeping him alive is very important. Okay, moving on. Let's move on for the next nodes, and we're going to talk about the villain nodes. For the villain nodes, we are going to use one new team. We are going to use the most recommended team I can come up with, which is going to be the Dead Sea team. They're all villains except Psylocke, but that's fine. That's 4 out of 5, and that's great because we can use the Dead Sea team on these villain nodes, and they are amazing. They are really amazing on these nodes. We have Magneto with the blinds, we have Archangel with the big damage, and also gives energy to the team, so that not only they are going to be good for one node, but they are going to be good for the second node as well. Extremely important. Now, as a replacement for Psylocke, my main recommendation is going to be for you to use Morgan Le Fay. Yes, Morgan Le Fay, but any kind of villain is going to be good. You can use Emma Frost, you can use Mr. Sinister, you can use Agatha Harkness, you can use Strange Supreme. So there are many characters that you can use in order to complete this 4-man team. But once again, the Dead Sea team, in my opinion, is going to be the best team. Not only they have the best negative effects, but also the energy generated by Archangel is extremely useful for this type of events. Once again, you can find the infographic for on my Discord. Link will be in the description. And this infographic already has this new version where some of the T4s will be tagged with different colors. That means that the T4 has additional value on other game modes, and in this case it's for raids. So if they have green T4s, that means they are useful in raids. If they have red T4s, they are useful in war. And if they have purple T4s, they are useful in Cosmic Crucible. If they are orange, they are good in all game modes. That's pretty much it. So once again, you can find the link for this infographic in the description of on my Discord. That's it. Moving on, let's move on. Let's go for the next team. On the next nodes, we have the skill characters. And on the skill characters, let's be honest, you should use your skill team. That's going to be your best option. And your skill rate team is going to be the Secret Avengers, with Captain Sam, with Mary Hill, and also with Sharon Carter. Those are only 3 characters, so you have to complement this team with 2 additional characters. And my favorite, of course, is going to be Shang-Chi and Kestrel. Now, as you can see, there is a lot of other characters here, and once again we have Hawkeye lurking around. Hawkeye, if you have him geared up already, is extremely useful. He's a cheat code for nodes number 5 and nodes number 10, but only if you have him geared up. If you don't have, never mind, just try to go around with it. Okay, so from these other skill characters, you can use like Nick Fury, or you can use Gamora, you can use Black Widow, you can use Punisher, you can use a few characters that might give you some value as sacking the node. What does it mean to sack the node? Sack the node is when you use some characters that are like at low level, and you attack the enemies, you make the enemies to waste their ultimate attacks, and then you can go with your main team and then finish up the node. That's what is called to sack the node, is using a few characters to make sure that the enemies use their ultimates and specials, and when you go with your main team, they have all those abilities on cooldown. So you can use several of these skill characters in order for you to sack the nodes, but then you should just go with your main team, and you're going to have a very easy time dealing with the skill nodes. There are a few nuances about the nodes on how do you approach them, but like I said, I'm going to be live on YouTube and on Twitch on Thursday and Friday, and we'll be doing some runs on the War Scourge and answer any questions that you have. Beyond that, of course, I'm going to upload a new guide with all these new teams in order for you to know exactly what you have to do in order to beat these nodes. Okay, so that's the skill team. Let's move on. Let's talk about the nodes number 5 and nodes number 10. For these nodes, you can use Wave 1 Avenger characters, you can use Hero Asgardians, and you can also use Ravagers. Let's talk about the Ravagers first. I don't like the Ravagers. I never recommend the Ravagers because they have 3 minions, and minions are characters that you are paying the full price, and they don't even have ultimate abilities. So you're gonna pay 12 million gold to gear them up. You're gonna waste all your orange gear and teal gear on characters that they don't even have ultimates. I don't recommend investing in minions. The least amount possible, that's the best way to go about it. Some people say, oh, but the Ravagers were the best minions for the Death Scourge. That's not true. They were the characters that most people have geared up as a whales. Like the whales, they all had these characters geared up. They were not the best ones. The AIM team was the best team. And in terms of Ravagers, like if you have them geared up, which I don't recommend, you can still use them, that's fine. The biggest problem with the Ravagers is that many of their abilities, many of their stats are limited behind Alliance Wars offense. And you can see right here that they get additional health in Alliance Wars offense, and outside of Alliance Wars offense they have very crappy stats. So 500,000 health, maxed out 700 stars, it's not great. It's really not great. And this is why I don't recommend gearing up these characters, because they have no value outside of Alliance Wars offense. They lose all their stats outside of Alliance Wars offense. They lose health, they lose armor, they lose abilities on their kit. This is why I don't recommend this team, because they lose so much stats outside of that specific game mode, and their use outside of Alliance Wars is also very, very low. Maybe sometimes you can use them in Cosmic Crucible, maybe sometimes on the tower at very low levels of the tower, but beyond that, this is not a team that I'm going to recommend to anyone, because yeah, their use is not that great. You can still find their infographic on my Discord, link will be in the description, but yeah, this is not a great team. This is definitely something I don't recommend. Even in terms of Alliance Wars offense, they are still not that great. Okay, so let's talk about characters that actually matter. Let's talk about Wave 1 Avengers, and let's talk about Hero Asgardians. So some of the Wave 1 Avengers, they also have Gamma characters that you are going to use on Node 1 and 2. You also have Avenger characters that you are going to use on nodes 3 and 4. And then you also have skill characters that you can use also on nodes 8 and 9. So you can see right here that you are getting huge value out of your Wave 1 Avenger characters. Then you also have Thor, that not only is Avenger character, not only is a Wave 1 Avenger character, but is also a Hero Asgardian. So you can have multiple synergies of characters over here. For nodes number 10 and number 5, you need mitigation, you need sustain, you need tanks, we need damage dealers, and we need controllers. Can we find all these answers on the Wave 1 Avengers? Most of them, yes. Okay, so with Captain America, we are going to have a tank, we are going to have energy generation, and you're also going to get mitigation. Captain America on spawn is going to give the flex, is going to give defense up with his special, and is also going to give immunity, which is very, very important. It's going to protect your team from enemies' negative effects. So Captain America is definitely a must-have character. Then we have Hulk. Hulk is an additional tank. He provides a lot of damage. He is very convenient because he's just such a beefy character. And not only that, but if you have him paired up with the right ISO weight, which I'm going to recommend the healer ISO weight for Captain America and also for Hulk, because they are so fast and because they are so beefy, they are going to provide full healing for your team. So not only you are done with the mitigation, you are also done with the tanks, and they are also done with the sustain. So the only things that we need is damage and control. While the Wave 1 Avenger characters, they have a lot of control with Hawkeye and with Black Widow, it's just not the best characters because they didn't have any rework recently and their starts are very, very lackluster. Therefore, we have to look for damage and control elsewhere, and this is when we are going to take a look at the Hero Asgardians. We have Thor. We just said that he is also Wave 1 Avengers, and the damage output of Thor is just massive. His passive ability is going to activate and give him charges, and whenever you have 5 charges, he's going to do a massive amount of damage to the enemies. The more Wave 1 Avenger characters and Hero Asgardians that you have, the more damage that Thor will do, and this is going to be massive. Thor is also able to apply stuns to the enemies with his ultimate, so this is something that you need to keep in mind. Okay, so if you are using Thor for damage, we also have to use Mighty Thor, aka Lady Thor, because she allows Thor to charge up a lot faster. She's going to provide double of the charges for Hero Asgardian allies, so whether you are charging up herself, Thor, or some other Hero Asgardian like Valkyrie, you definitely want to have Mighty Thor to charge up as fast as possible. On top of that, Lady Thor, she also does control effects, she applies blinds to the enemies, and she also flips positive effects into negative effects on the enemies, which is massive. If you flip defense up into defense down, if you flip speed up into slow, it's just massive, and this is a very important ability of Mighty Thor. And when you pair up Mighty Thor with Captain America is going to provide energy to her, and is going to allow Mighty Thor to use her abilities a lot more often. Other thing that we need to talk about in terms of sustainability is that the more Hero Asgardians you have, the more healing that they are going to provide to each other on turn. So if we have the chance of increasing the number of Hero Asgardians we have, that's what we are going to do. Okay, so we talked about Thor, we talked about Mighty Thor. Now we're going to talk about Valkyrie, which is going to close this team up and make a 5-man team that has everything that you need. You have the mitigation, you have the sustain, we have the damage, we have the control, we have the tanks, we have literally everything. And with Valkyrie, she's going to provide not only control for our team but also support. She's going to provide buffs to the hero Asgardians, including defense up, offense up, and counters. So once again, increasing the damage output of the hero Asgardians even further. And on top of that, if any hero Asgardian dies, she's going to provide buffs to them, and she's also going to provide healing to them. For this, you just want to make sure that you don't waste the charges of her ultimate, and you make sure that you keep her alive as long as possible, just to make sure that she's always with the max charges. When she's with the max charges, she's able to provide 40% healing for all hero Asgardians, and this is just massive. So as you can see, with this team we have a lot of control. Valkyrie, she's also able to stun the enemies, and she's also able to ability block the enemies. This is going to be extremely convenient for you, and once again, because of Captain America providing so much energy to the hero Asgardians, this team is going to be just massive. And with that, we have all the answers that we need for nodes number 5 and nodes number 10. Once again, Hawkeye is a cheat code for nodes number 5 and nodes number 10, but it's very hard to justify gearing him up, so I'm recommending just this 5-man team, which is the team that makes the most sense. Captain America, Hulk, Thor, Lady Thor, and Valkyrie. Once again, you can find the infographics with my recommendations in terms of T-Force and ISO 8 for hero Asgardians. And if you, once again, if you feel this is outdated or anything like that, you can ask me directly on Discord. Just tag me and I'll reply as soon as possible. Okay, now that we talked about the teams individually, let's take a look at them and see how they are going to look like. So for nodes number 1 and number 2, bio nodes, we are going to use the Gamma team. In case you have the Rebirth team, you can also use the Rebirth team. Last resource would be the Web Warriors, Symbiotes. Avoid those as much as possible. For nodes number 3 and number 4, where you need Avengers, you have the Bionic Avengers. You need them for raids, and that's why you should use them, because you already gear them up for the raids. As I mentioned before, if you have Hawkeye, you can replace Hawkeye with Iron Man, and you charge up the ultimate of Hawkeye, and then you can use it on nodes number 5 and nodes number 10. It's extremely useful in case you are able to do that. Once again, I will be live on Twitch and on YouTube, and you can check out exactly how to do that, and I will make new guides on how to do all of these. Moving on, let's talk about the villain nodes, nodes number 6 and nodes number 7. We are going to use the Death Sea team plus one additional character. In my opinion, the best character is going to be Morgan Le Fay. She has huge survivability and also huge control, and she pairs up very well together with Archangel. That's for the villain nodes. Now we're going to talk about the skill nodes, and the skill nodes, once again, you want to use your raid team, and that's going to be Secret Avengers with Kestrel and Shang-Chi. This is going to be the best team for you to clear those nodes number 8 and number 9. Once again, you can sack some of the nodes with Nick Fury or with Sif or with Zemo, anything like that, in case you want to waste the cooldowns of the enemies and make your life a lot easier after. And finally, we have the last team that we are going to use for nodes number 5 and nodes number 10, and that's going to be hero Asgardians with the Wave 1 Avenger characters. And my recommendation, once again, in terms of ISO 8, change Captain America to healer, change the Hulk to healer, and maybe also change Valkyrie to healer, because you really want to have some additional healing to make this team alive. And especially for Valkyrie, she has very low HP, and you want to make sure that she's maxed out in terms of health. The only characters that you need with something other than healer is Lady Thor, Mighty Thor with the Skirmisher ISO 8, so she has a higher chance of flipping the positive effects into negative effects on the enemies. And then you want Thor with the Raider ISO 8 or Striker ISO 8. I prefer the Striker ISO 8 because on his basic attack he's going to flip defense ups into defense downs on the enemies, and that's just massive. So that's my recommendations for nodes number 5 and nodes number 10. And that's it. That's all you need to know in order for you to prepare for the upcoming War Scourge, where I'll be able to unlock or max out Red Hulk. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to smash that like button, and if you found the video helpful, make sure to share it to your friends on Facebook and Discord. If you are new to my channel, make sure to subscribe for more Marvel Strike Force content, and I will catch you guys later.